www.MVRemix.com.
Hello.
Who do you have here, Mr. Williams or Mr. LaVerge?
This is Williams. How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Williams, we have Hugo on the line.
Hey, Hugo. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Yourself?
I'm hanging, man.
Perfect. How's the press day been going so far?
Good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's see. A lot of people nowadays and throughout your career have looked up to you as an influence or inspiration. Who did you look up to when you were starting off?
When I was starting off, I looked up to James Brown, Otis Redding, Jackie Wilson, the Drifters. I think what really got me going was Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers came to town at the Canton Memorial Auditorium. And I think after he came and performed, it seemed like 25, 30 groups sprang up all around that area. Canton, Massillon, Alliance, Ohio, Warren, Ohio, Akron, Ohio. Just groups just started coming from everywhere, singing at the YMCA, at the Urban League. And it stayed with us.
Mm-hmm.
One of those groups was Ruby and the Romantics.
Nice, nice.
So that's what inspired me.
Which of your counterparts influenced your work ethic to be what it became and has become?
I didn't quite understand that.
Basically, you were surrounded by a lot of very, very talented people. Was there anyone in particular that influenced you to be as determined to continue being creative?
I really liked the group The Drifters.
Mm-hmm.
They had several different lead singers, and of course they had a lot of hits.
Yeah.
During those days. And I liked Jackie Wilson. I thought he was, and James Brown, I thought he was a phenomenal performer. Excellence. James Brown was just the opposite. He was a hard worker, but with excellence as well.
Yeah.
So I thought I got a chance to see two sides of the coin watching both of them, and actually getting an opportunity to do shows with both of them.
Nice. How do you keep your content diverse while remaining on the subject of love and romance?
How do I keep...
Yeah, how do you... Because a lot of soul is to do with love and feelings and such, and therefore, how do you keep it fresh while remaining on the same subject?
I just think if you get a great response from the audience, and we usually do when we're up to par, and we try to stay up to par, I just think the love that they give,
Mm-hmm.
you have to give it back.
Definitely. Is there
If
anything...
that answers your question.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And also, you know, you have to, you know, once you learn this craft, this is Eric, you have to go out there and project it. You have to go out there and get it across to the people. And that's not always easy, because you have to, I mean, I learned from Eddie and Walter that you have to feel people.
Uh-huh.
You know, you can't just go out there and think everything is going to go as planned or as you rehearsed it, you know, at your rehearsal studio. Sometimes you go out there and something might not work that worked in D.C., and it just won't work in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be quick enough and have a love for those people and feel those people enough to say, oh, that's not going to work. I need to go over here and try this right this at this particular time, because I know this is what they like. Everyone can't do that.
Yeah.
And I learned that from Eddie and Walter. I mean, you gotta have a plan. You gotta have a game plan. But sometimes you can't run that running back up the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna have to go out. You know, he's gonna have to flank out to the right. You know, and we're gonna have to improvise.
Yeah. Is there anything about the industry now that you would have liked more of in your earlier years?
The industry has changed quite a bit. I think the pluses of the changing industry is the technology.
Mm-hmm.
The way we record today isn't as taxing as it was 15, 15, 20 years ago. You can sing one hook and get it perfect, or as close to perfect as you can, and then you can fly it in
Yeah.
for the rest of the song. That's a plus.
Yeah.
Of course, we're making more money today, and necessarily so, because things are so inflated out of proportion now. You got to make more money today. We're experiencing larger crowds today because of the facilities. The venues are much bigger and nicer. You might be too young to remember the Chitlin Circuit, the quote-unquote Chitlin Circuit. It was, small clubs throughout the South and part of the North. If in fact they exist, they're not being worked as much as they were 20 years ago. And maybe someone should do that again, because those are grassroots people, and it's a more intimate setting,
Definitely.
in my opinion.
Yeah. So tell me about imagination.
Imagination is just what the title says. Eddie explained it really good earlier today. If you want to sit and you got a problem and you need to talk it out with your woman, that song is on there for you. If you want to get up and dance with her or anyone else, that song is on there for you. Or if you just are in a great happy mood and want to kick it, that song is on there for you as well. So you use your imagination.
Nice, nice. For the generations that have hopped on the soul or R&B bandwagon recently, how would you, in 5 tracks, school them on the OJs?
Eric, you want that one?
How would I do what now?
How would you school them on the OJs? How would you teach them what the OJs are all about, sort of best tracks and such?
This is what I would do. First of all, I have a big meeting up there in New York and invite all those groups. And I would tell them, man, if you're going to be in this business, you have to know this business. That means you have to go back, and try to corral those groups and those singers and the ones who have the talent and who dug deep in their soul and sung these songs and that they live. And that's the one thing that I try to tell young people today. If you haven't lived it, it's really kind of hard to sing about it, because you don't really know what that pain is. And when I watch Walter and Eddie and I watch them sing in the studio, I always wonder how they get that soul that they portray on record. It's because they lived it. And I would have them to actually take out time and corral your talent, man. Know what your strengths are. Know what your weaknesses are. And whatever your weaknesses are, you need to strengthen that. And whatever you got to do. I remember having a group on tour with us one time, and it was 3 guys. And the OJs are 3 guys. And these guys never came to see the OJs sing. They were on the show with us, but they would never stick around and see us perform. And I never understood that.
Yeah.
I never understood how you could have guys, and you got 3 guys, and you don't watch the masters of this do that. When I was coming up, I watched the OJs, I watched the Temps, I watched Smokey Robinson, Dramatics. It didn't matter. I learned something from every one. And that's what I would tell those young groups today. Learn this. Learn whatever you're trying to do, learn it. I mean, if you usher, you should be looking at James Brown and Michael Jackson and Jackie Wilson and Joe Tex. You should know the history of this business. Not just because you get a hit record and you feel like the hit record don't make you have longevity. The OJs and the Temptations and the Four Tops, the Whispers, that's longevity.
Yeah.
Patti LaBelle, that's longevity.
And that's because you put time in and you worked on having a hit act. You sustain yourself. You last much longer with a hit act than you do a hit record. You need them both,
Yeah.
but you really need a hit act.
Now, you've been sampled a lot in hip-hop. How do you feel about having your music sampled?
I think it gives you staying power, because again, you're being put out there with other artists, other acts, and especially if they're younger in there somewhere.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the fundamental differences between our R&B and your classic material? What do you think contributes to the lack of romanticism nowadays?
Now, our R&B, you're saying, versus what we did in
versus
past
what you did.
years?
Because it's more completely sexually geared now, as opposed to yours was more loving, emotional. There was depth to it.
Once again, I said this earlier. You can't sing about what you don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
If all you doing is hitting the skins and running, that's all you know.
Yeah.
If you haven't been in love and you haven't been hurt, you can't sing about joy and pain. You can't sing it.
And I think skillfully and very understandably, you have to convey it simply in a song where people can understand it, that and good lyric, that it's not complicated, and make it plain and clear. And we talk about man-woman relationship a lot, and we explain it just how it happens, how it goes down, so it isn't complicated. And I think that's the difference, the tenderness, the lovingness, the way it's explained. And sometimes it's sexual or with sexual overtones, but that's involved in a relationship, and especially a good relationship.
But it's not blatant.
No,
It's not blatant.
and distasteful.
You have to have some type of some type of reservation for other people's listening ears, and some of these artists just don't they don't care about how a person receive it, as long as they receive it.
There's 1,000 ways to say I want to lick you up and down. There's a better way to say it than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a much more tender and loving way to say it, and a way that it'll be conceived and digest in a good manner, instead of saying that's distasteful. I don't want my child to hear that.
Definitely.
That's right.
Is there anything out there right now which you can see standing the test of time?
Anything as far as music,
Yeah.
I like what Beyonce's doing.
love what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Love what Beyonce. See, it gets rough after that.
There aren't too many.
It gets rough after that. I mean, because when you look at the substance, and you look at, man, maybe Alicia Keys.
Cool.
Yeah, Alicia's telling some
maybe
stories.
Alicia.
Yeah, she's telling some stories that are tasteful, and you can digest them without any negative reactions. But the field gets very small after that.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have any last words to your fans that are going to be reading this?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being with us all this time. I mean, it's been 44 years, and that's a long time to be with anyone. Thank you. We love you, and we appreciate the love that you've shown us over the years.